Because I was so overwhelmed by my dad is not around, so does no one love me? Where's my mom? I mean, your organs are shifting.
Literally.
Yeah.
Hey mamas, welcome back to the Whole Mama Show. I'm your host, Aisha O'Reilly, and we're revealing the untold stories of motherhood. So I've said this so many times on this podcast, as well as on my social media platforms, that I feel that for so many of us, motherhood has been the single most transformative event of our lives. I find it difficult to believe that any woman can say that after becoming a mother, her life has just not changed, even just a little bit. And so what I think a lot of us don't know or don't realize is that a lot of our childhood experiences resurface when we become mothers. And so that's what this episode is about today. You're not the only mama who healed through motherhood. Before we get into anything, I'd love to ask you to join my mama village by subscribing to my channel and following me on my social media platforms. Karabo is a digital content creator, a wife and mom of two, whose journey in motherhood helped her heal her childhood. This is her story. So, before getting into the episode, I wanted to quickly share about a toy that doesn't just entertain your toddler, but also boosts their cognitive skills. My family and I love the Lego Duplo sets because they help my kids learn about colors, numbers, and shapes. Kenzo is playing with the Lego Duplo My First Organic Garden set that helps him develop problem-solving skills and increase his concentration. Because the Lego Duplo brick is double the size of a standard Lego brick, it's easier for toddlers to grip and build with. They're also big enough for toddlers age 1.5 upwards to play with safely. Catch my other episodes for more essential skills that Lego Duplo helps to build. You can get your toddler their Lego Duplo sets from toy retailers and any Lego certified store. With Lego Duplo, your child can learn to think critically in a fun way. Enjoy the episode. I am joined by Karabo today. If you can please, for the benefit of my listeners and my viewers, just let them know a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and who calls you mama.
So hi everyone, my name is Karabo Mokoena of Black Mom Chronicles. That is the blog that got me here. And this is such a crazy moment for me because I remember 5 years ago when I started the blog, you, Tando of Modern Zulu Mom, really approved with the 3 Black Mom bloggers that made me feel uncomfortable.
No, wait.
So,
you never told me.
I am telling you now, girl. I am telling you now. So it's really special for me to be sitting with you now.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Yes, so I am a high energy lover of life and people. I am a mom, yes, of 2. I am a wife to Stava, who I've been with for forever.
How long is forever?
Forever is 13 years.
Okay, that's a long time.
Been together for 13 years, married for 3 now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we met when I was 18.
Yeah, no.
We're church sweethearts.
Oh, okay.
Did the church for the youth. And now we are serving the youth in the church, which is such a beautiful 360 for us.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. And I am mom to Simuluho, who's 5, going on 6 in October, and Asante, who is 18 months, and keeping us on 10 of our toes. If I had extra toes, I would use them because she is so busy and amazing. I'm a writer. I am a content creator. I'm a conversationalist. I love parenting so much that I decided to make it part of my job, my actual career. Before I gave birth, I was in recruitment. I was in corporate. And I was recruiting for one of the most biggest brands in the world. And it was a really fulfilling job for me because I was really changing people's lives.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved that.
Yeah.
It filled me with so much purpose. Then I gave birth and I was like, wait, this also gives me purpose. And I was like, I want to share my story. And then that's when I looked up and I was like, wait, here's Aisha sharing her story. Wait, here's Hannah sharing her story. Wait, here's other people sharing their story. So let me do it as well.
Yeah.
And I started my blog, Black Mom Chronicles, 5 years ago. And it's been absolutely amazing. And it's grown so much. And now I've even created a newer space now called Mindful Motherhood. And it's a Facebook group. And I'm creating an intimate space for women to talk about motherhood, particularly motherhood activism, which I talk about as, you can define what motherhood means to you. You're a mother in 2023. You're not a mother in 1956. 6 or 90, 20 something, you can set your own rules. And we talk about mental health and demystifying mental health and talking about mental health, maternal mental health in particular, because it's a newer conversation for us. And I love that it is actually part of a conversation because we're talking about it so much more. Yeah. But we need to go in there, man. We need to go in there because there's so much to talk about. Yeah. And I talk about conscious parenting, and I'm in a community with moms that are trying to find alternative ways to parent. Because this is a different time. Our parents did the best with what they had in a different time. Yeah. And this time calls us to figure out what works for us and what doesn't work for us. I'm the co-host of Breaking Cycles. That's how. It can never be forgotten. And yes, how is my virtual sister. We relate to each other so much, and we love conversations around mental health and conscious parenting. And we decided to create a platform, and we are so excited because the reception so far with the 4 episodes that we've got out has been so beautiful. And we are excited to create a lot more episodes and having a lot more conversation on conscious parenting.
Because you guys are talking about things that, that's basically the basis of my podcast is the untold stories of motherhood. And because they are sure, you were saying that you found that I will share my story and stuff like that. But there's so many other, there's billions of us out there as women, as mothers, and not everyone has been able to tell their story or has been able to sort of see their stories represented somewhere, and what I love about you and How is that you guys go in, and I think there's definitely, I've noticed, at least on the social media space and stuff like that, there's definitely more attention being paid to mental health in general. Yes. About certain topics that used to be a bit taboo are now coming to the forefront. But when it comes to motherhood, there's still some things that we still can't talk about. There's still some things that we can't say without with confidence that we can say it and no one's going to judge us, no one's going to shame us, no one's going to question whether we're good moms, So I love all of these kinds of conversations, and I'm so glad that you guys are also, doing that and sharing from your point of view and your experience as well, because nobody else has that experience but you. Yeah. So I'm really, really excited about you being here today and sharing your journey.
I'm also so excited. Before we called the podcast Breaking Cycles, we were thinking brave conversations. Yeah. Because I think that we need a lot. Yeah. We just need a lot of bravery to say, this is who I am. I'm going to show you my authentic self. I'm not going to hide, because I know I'm not going through this alone. This is why I started Black Mom Chronicles. Because I'm like, wait, man, I'm not the first mother in the world. So why do I feel so lonely? Why do I feel like I'm being punished? Because I'm so overwhelmed and I have no idea what I'm doing, So let me tell other people that I have no idea what I'm doing and I'm trying to figure it out. So let's figure it out together.
That's it. Yeah. That really is it. Let's figure this out together. None of us have this figured out. No. Even when people call themselves, no offense to people who call themselves parenting experts, but personally, I just don't believe there's... How are you an expert on parenting? Yeah. You can be maybe from a educational point of view, fine, but that's one side of the whole thing, So take me back to how did you become a mom for the first time?
Sure, it was so unexpected. I remember going to the doctor because I was just feeling sick, and she said, let's do a pregnancy test. It's like, of course, we can totally do that because I know I'm not pregnant. Yeah, and I came out of that doctor's room dizzy. I literally had to sit down because I was like, how can I possibly be pregnant?
Yeah. Well, what happened that you didn't think that you were going to be pregnant?
So I was in contraception for my period pains. So that's what my clinic advised me to do. My community clinic put me on contraception. And I had come off of it because it was starting to make me feel really bad. But they told me that it's going to take a while. Even then I went going La Vida Loca. And then I went wild. And then that hit me. But I was also in the middle of planning our wedding, because we had just recently gotten engaged with my now husband. Yes. And that wasn't really part of the plan, you know. But the plan was we were building a family. But our idea of that, because it was like, oh, it's just going to be the two of us and live, travel and see the world and whatever. And then got through a curveball. And that was the last thing that I felt like I was prepared for. I was 26 and I was building a career. I've always wanted to have kids, but I wasn't planning to have kids right there and then. And then that curveball came and I was like, wait, can I actually even be a good mom? And I think you get overwhelmed with so many other thoughts because my mom my mom is late. So, and I didn't grow up with my mom. And I grew up with my paternal aunt who was very tough. Okay, loving, but a very tough woman. Yeah. So I was like, wait, I don't even have a template to do this. I don't feel like I'm ready to do this. What made me feel like I'm actually ready to do this was a conversation with my sister saying, you're independent. You are with a person that you love. Clearly you love him. Like you're planning a whole wedding. And the second thing was me telling him the news and he got overwhelmed a little bit and like, oh, this is good. Like I think what the turning point for me with that pregnancy was our first scan, and we saw that little dot, and I saw the look on his face, and it was so beautiful and was so perfect. Like I've got that captured in my memory forever. Yeah, because that was the moment where it felt right, and I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's finally embrace this. But it was definitely a curveball but how many of us actually like prepare for pregnancy and childbirth? I think there are people that plan it. I mean, Asante was planned. Yeah. Because it was, our pregnancy before that, our miscarriage wasn't planned. Right. But then when we lost the baby, you're like, okay, a few months later, we're like, okay, we're ready. So let's do this. So there was preparation around that. So the news didn't hit us as hard. But that first one, it knocked us over, but we embraced it.
How was pregnancy and birth? What was that like?
That first one, it was quite overwhelming because your body is changing in ways you never even knew was possible. I mean, your organs are shifting. Literally, like moving to make space for this human being. So it was very overwhelming. And I had so many questions. And I remember going to see my gynae. I had a notebook full of questions and he only saw me for like 15, 20 minutes and we did the scan and we were out. And the second session again, and I'm like, wait, I've got questions, but he doesn't have time. And I think that's what led me to the midwifery-led care. And I went to Genesis. Okay. So a midwife there. I sat down in the midwife's office and she looked at me and with gentle eyes, she asked, how are you? I like sunk into that chair because I'm like, no one has asked me this. I am overwhelmed. Yeah. I am tired. I'm just going through so many things. Like, okay, do you have questions for me? Like, yes, I have millions, so many. I had even put the notebook away because I'm like, okay, clearly no one is interested in all my million questions, but she was interested, and I stuck up with that process, and it was so empowering. So for the rest of my pregnancy after that, I felt empowered. Because then I was given the information, I was given a place to access the information as well. Like I became a Google mom. With her, I knew where to go to get to the right information. And then the rest of my pregnancy was really empowered. My birth was perfect. Painful, but absolutely perfect. We recorded it and put it on YouTube. We were my second one we did.
I'll have to watch.
Yes. It was so beautiful. Both my births were like really, really beautiful, like really perfect. So the rest of my journey was really just from a place of empowerment because knowledge is power. And what I got from my midwife was like a lot of knowledge. I would hit her up, in cases where I'm like, wait, I don't know what's happening. Is this normal? Is it not? Because you have a lot of that. Wait, am I supposed to be feeling that? Yeah. Is this supposed to be happening? Yeah. And then you question that a lot. Yeah. And then the anxiety hits you because I think like motherhood is marred so much with like anxiety because like I do not want to mess this up.
Yeah, and you don't know what's happening.
I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I don't want to mess it up. I don't know if am I supposed to be eating that? Am I not? And you get overwhelmed with so much information as well,
An opinion.
Yes, unsolicited. Like I did not ask you that. Yeah, that's a whole different conversation.
Honestly, you're like one of the first, one of the few. Let me say you're one of the few women that I've spoken to where you've like, pregnancy was great. I felt empowered. Like I've never heard a woman use that word to describe her pregnancy and her birth. Because this is the thing, like when I speak to some other women, I'm always like, and Kao as well, when we were chatting in her episode, we're saying like, why must it be difficult? if there's an easier way,
Yes.
if there's a painless way, do whatever it is when it comes to this journey.
Yeah.
Why can't we, why can't we take that option? Why does it have to be a struggle every time? So I'm happy to hear that it's possible.
It is.
Because I couldn't stand pregnancy all 3 times. Like, it's not, nope. Yeah, it's not for me. And the first time I admitted it, people were like, shocking. How was it? You're supposed to love it. Yeah, it's supposed to love every second of it. How dare you? How grateful. No, guys, I feel woman.
No,
That's not what I'm saying. Me, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I don't like not being in control of my body. Some women, it's okay. They don't mind. Some women, they don't really notice it. But for me, I'm like, it took over everything. And I don't enjoy the process. It's a means to an end.
And that's your truth.
That's my truth. That's your truth. So okay. So you had a great pregnancy, great birth, that. And what was your support system like at that time? Because you said when you were young, you were about to get married, surprise pregnancy. Who did you have in your corner?
During my pregnancy or after birth?
Let's say after.
Yeah.
Was it different?
Yes, after birth. After birth was really tough. Because then I don't have my midwife anymore that I could tap into. I didn't have a doula. It was just me and my husband that was working at the time, full time. And my mom is not around. Yeah. So we have his mom that came to stay with us. So the traditional setup with postpartum is that I'm supposed to go to my in-laws, right? Yeah. My family, or go stay with other women. But I was not for that because I did not like the separation from my partner. So like, when does he get the time to bond with the child?
Why?
And why are we creating the narrative that he can't get involved?
Yeah.
Because then they don't get time to connect
At all.
And then I come back at like 4 or 5 months and now he's learning from scratch who this person is and what we're supposed to do. I'm like, no, we're going to figure it out together.
I love that.
We're going to do this. We're going to create a partnership. Yeah, it was tough because my mom-in-law at the time was also working. So she was with us for like that first week. And then all of a sudden it was just me. I felt the same way I felt shortly after I gave birth because I stayed with her in the room, right? And my midwife left and the lactation consultant is gone and my husband is also gone and it's just me and her in the room. And I'm like, oh, wait, it's just us. Wait, what am I supposed to do with this person? Yeah, and I was like, wait, I don't know what's happening. I felt exactly like that. And I think the big thing also was at the time, I had a narrative of motherhood that's very traditional that, in Sesotho we say, "Mosadi tshwara thipa ka bohaleng," which basically means you're supposed to just figure it out. You're a mom now, a woman of the house, figure this out by yourself. So reaching out to people wasn't a thing. Creating a community for myself wasn't a thing. Now it's just me and my husband. And because I am the vessel that brought this child into this world, I am the one that's supposed to figure it out. And it was so overwhelming.
Yeah.
I was tired. I was not bathing. I was not sleeping. I was trying with my partner at the time, let's take night shift, let's not. And then you get caught by that guilt to say, no, he's waking up in the morning and he's going to work. And it's like, actually, you're also waking up in the morning and kind of working. But that's not the narrative that I had.
Yeah.
So those first few months were really, really tough. I mean, the one instance I remember is when she was crying and I have no idea why. You can tick boxes, right?
Angry.
And I'm like, wait, let me take everything. So why are you still crying? And then I started just crying with her. And that was the tipping point for me to actually just reach out to someone else. Like, I called her and I said, I am tired. Because then during my baby shower, she was a person that told me that sometimes you're going to feel like this. This means you're already overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And you sleep deprived.
Yeah.
And it's too much. Just learn to reach out. And I reached out and she came and she said, go take a shower and go sleep. And I did that. And I came back and my kitchen was clean and my baby was sleeping. And I was like, oh, this is nice. So this is what support looks like. And I slept and I feel rested. And that's when I really started kind of learning the mindset of. And then after that, I was like, let's get a nanny. Because clearly I can't do this by myself. But then we kind of started building that support structure for ourselves. But those first few months of trying to be the strong Black woman showed me flames.
trying to do it all.
Trying to do it all by myself, like I'm a superwoman. No thanks.
But I can relate to that because all of us have been fed that narrative.
Yes.
Ever since we were little girls. It's not like when we were older. Ever since we were little girls with the toys that we play and the what you call it, like the make-believe sort of, what's the term I'm looking for? When you're like, almost cosplay, and you're the parents of the house and you're playing moms and dads and you play this, whatever. It's always that sort of like, as a mom, I have to do this. And the girl does this and the girl does that. And the girl. So we grow up really conditioned thinking that. So it's a lot to unlearn. Yes. It's a lot to unlearn. By the time you're 20, whatever, 30, whatever, when you have your first child, you're still in that mindset, but your body is like, girl, you still
this is not. Yes, this is not. Your body is telling you.
Yeah,
you're right.
You need to sleep.
Telling you. Yeah,
you need to eat.
Yeah,
you need to do all of that stuff, as well as take care of but someone needs to take care of you.
Yes.
So you had a good friend there. Was it a friend or a relative?
It was someone from my church, with the church community.
Yeah.
Which is has been so important. Yeah. It's really has been part of my community. So
I think that's the only way that we survive as mothers, if we have at least one person. At least one.
It would be nice to have more, but at least one person that you can rely on.
Who's not going to judge you.
You're not going to judge you.
Shame you.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like, okay, I'll help you, but
but you face this.
Yeah.
People say the most bizarre things. Like I remember one time I was complaining to my Uber driver and I was dropping Tino off after school. It's like, oh my gosh, kids, after I drop her off. But she's like, who asked you to do this? Like, no, give me that. Don't talk to Uber drivers about it. Oh my gosh. It was so invalidating. It's so invalidating.
But the thing is, there are other people. Now it's like it was an Uber driver. You're in there for like 10, 15 minutes, whatever.
Yeah.
But there are people in other women's lives who are like, they're there. They're the mother-in-law. They're the moms. They're the whatever. It's like,
my intimate space.
Yeah.
Just invalidating my experience.
All the time.
And I was like, okay, who am I supposed to vent out to? I think we had one episode with Khao where we spoke about, we titled it Why We Hate Motherhood.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, wait, I just need a break from my kids. And people are like,
yeah.
Yes, I do. Like that's why COVID hit so many relationships.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think it's a little unnatural for us to be always in each other's faces like that. Like a break is good. Like, so even in our parenting relationships, like me being away from my kids sometimes is so good for us. Also good for my relationship because I'm like, oh, I see you when I like you.
Every absent
makes the heart grow fonder. It's the same with our kids. Yeah, definitely the same with our kids. So it's so important to find people that you're comfortable saying such things.
Yeah.
And that's why I've created Mindful Motherhood, because I'm creating a community of moms that are comfortable speaking their truth. Speaking their truth without feeling like they're going to be shamed for it or be guilted for saying certain things.
Because even if you don't say it out loud, you know that a lot of people are thinking it or feeling it, but they might not say it. But for you to be the one who's, okay, no guys, I'm putting my hand up. I'm overwhelmed. I'm tired. A break for my kids. That other women will be like, oh my God, me too.
Yes.
Me too.
Yes.
I also need it.
Yes.
So you went through, I think, what the majority of us go through with this whole postpartum, especially after the first child. It's like, what is
the fourth trimester?
The fourth trimester should be longer than 3 months. For me, it's like a whole year, of not feeling like myself. But that's also a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But what would you say has been like the toughest aspect of motherhood? Because you've been a mom now for almost 6 years. Looking back on it, what would you say has been like, okay, this has been the most challenging part?
So for me personally, I think it's realizing how much of my own childhood burden parenting has unraveled for me, right? And I think that's where my conscious parenting journey comes in. So I had like a really rough start to life.
Yeah.
I was separated from my mom from a very young age. My mom had her own mental health issues. So I was taken away from her and lived with my paternal aunt, who was a very tough, black, strict woman who even today, like when you say I love you, she still struggles to say it. So that's the kind of home that I come from, right? Where hidings were irregular. Because I was so overwhelmed by my dad is not around, so does no one love me? Where's my mom? Like, does no one care about me? So that unworthiness followed me so much, even into my teens, and even after that. And my life had so much loss and grief. Like, I was orphaned by the time I was 16 years old, right? So both my parents were gone by the time I turned 16. So it's like, wait, now I'm navigating life without the two people that brought me to the space. What is this? And I had to figure out so much of life without my parents. And it was such a rip off of a bandage for me with my mom, because I think we had only been together for about 3 years. So we were really getting to know each other and create a bond and a connection and ask questions about her life. Even now, I still have so many questions about my parents' life that I don't have answers to, right? And I realized how triggering parenting was for me, even from a very young age, right? And I was like, wait, this is a bit painful. This hurts a little bit, And then realizing that, wait, like your inner child is also a little unsettled. Because I did a lot of therapy before I got married, but I was doing therapy because of grief, in essence. Because what happened with my grief is that it ended up manifesting itself physically. Like, I was ill. My early 20s were spent running in and out of hospital. Yeah, I had ulcers and got migraines. Like, my body was just screaming out for help. The therapy made me realize that, wait, you're just grieving. Because I never did loss work for both my parents and all the other losses that I had, because I lost my brother and I lost my sister. I lost a lot of intimate family members, and I never really processed that. So that showed itself up, and I did work on that, but I didn't work on all the other trauma that I experienced as a young girl growing up. And parenting introduced that to me. And then I had to get to a point where I realized that maybe God is just facilitating your healing. So let's look at it like that, right? When your child upsets you. So, for example, Timo the other day said to me, Nabi, you don't look beautiful without makeup, right? And that hit me somewhere, right? And if I didn't have the self-awareness to recognize that I'm triggered, I probably would have hit back with, oh, you're so mean or whatever, to just make her feel like she did a really terrible thing. Yeah. But instead, my self-awareness made me take a step back to say, wait, that kind of hit me on my gut. Why? And why did that do that? And then I take a step back and like, okay, wait. I grew up with a lot of insecurity about how I look, because I was constantly told that I'm ugly and I'm too dark or whatever. I didn't grow up this light. I was a completely different person back then. So I grew up really bullied about how I look. So that triggered that for me. But then my conscious parenting journey and my self-awareness, which is such a gift for me, made me recognize that. And instead of reacting towards her, I was able to kind of turn that back around and say, girl, have you seen this face? I don't need no makeup, I'm beautiful with or without makeup. And then just recognize it as a teaching moment for her. Because listen, she's probably speaking her truth. I look different with, I look beautiful naturally, but I look amazing when I've got makeup on, right? And now it's about teaching her that vocabulary. So I got introduced to conscious parenting from a very young age, because I realized how much of my daughter's crying triggered me. Her crying triggered me. Okay. And I did not understand why that did that to me. Yeah. And then through work that I did, there's an amazing parenting coach, Kenny Van Rooyen, and I did a course with her. The Carl also did the same course. And it's like, wait, when something triggers you, try and trace it back. I grew up as a child that cried a lot. I'm super sensitive. I think I was about to cry in like some of the stuff that I was saying to you. I grew up really sensitive, and I would cry every time I felt any type of emotion, even when my emotions were being invalidated. Yeah, right? And then I was called a crybaby. So I was insulted a lot for that. And no one ever gave me attention when I cried. So I'm like, why are you crying? Why must I give you my attention? That was your response. That was my response to my daughter. And and then it had to take me work to realize that, and also find a way to heal that inner child to say, no, you're okay. You're fine. So recognizing that, I think that was tough, because it's been a lot of work for me, and it continues to be, because now she's 6 and she's vocal and she's feisty, and when I shout, she's like, why are you shouting? And then part of that is also triggering because I'm like, I grew up getting shouted at all the time.
No big deal.
And it's no big deal. And I would not even dare to say, please do not shout at me. So now I have to like deal with us raising like this different generation of kids that question and are bold to speak their truth, where we couldn't speak our truths at all. And we couldn't share our opinions about absolutely anything.
Or if we did, we were called disrespectful.
Yeah. So redefining that for me has been one of my biggest challenges, because like I said, the trauma that I experienced has been intense, and like it's hitting me rock bottom. Like it's a cause of most of my anxiety and my depression. Like motherhood has changed my mental health landscape completely, because I didn't have a vocabulary for some of the things that I experienced. I didn't know what anxiety meant. I didn't know what depression meant. And it's through my parenting journey that I was able to build a vocabulary about some of the stuff, and even build the confidence and the bravery to speak about that. So the constant triggering, because children are upsetting. Children will upset you.
I don't know when you say that, because I'm like, I know
they really will. They really will upset you, but they're not in it to upset you. They're not doing it on purpose.
Most of the time.
Yeah, we will. They're not. You know, they also don't have a vocabulary to explain what they are feeling. They're trying to find ways to show you that, hey, I'm not feeling okay over here. And sometimes they do it through hitting you or kicking you or doing all sorts of weird things. And it's in being able to step back. I mean, for one, Simu's hitting.
She was hitting you.
Yes, yeah. So in her moment of emotional overwhelm, she would just she would hit. And it was extremely triggering for me because I grew up getting hit. It's only now in her older age where sometimes she wants to experience an instinct of hitting me that I can say to her, I grew up getting hit, and mommy really doesn't like it because it doesn't make me feel good. Now we can have a conversation about it. But it was harder when I couldn't have a conversation with her about it.
Yeah.
But then I had to learn how to emotionally regulate myself, because I can't let a 3-4-year-old be responsible for my emotions and my experiences. Right?
And you know, I'm like reflecting on that as you're talking, because I think a lot of us forget that. When we're in the moment, we forget this is a 3-year-old, you know, this is a 4-year-old. This is, you know, it's almost like you forget that you guys are not equal.
Yes.
Here, you know, you are much more mature and developed. And so by the virtue of the fact that you are the mother and you are the adult,
Yes.
you need to take on more. You need to be more self-aware and more aware in general of their feelings and their emotions, and teach them how to have a vocabulary and self-regulate.
But now the trick is you actually just need to be conscious of what you experience.
Yes.
That's where the work is.
Yeah.
It's to be like, wait, why did that upset me that much? Because it's not their behavior. Because sometimes it's like very normal, like, you know, developmentally appropriate behavior that like really upsets you. Like them breaking something. Like yesterday, my Asante broke my father-in-law's glass. It's some glassware. I can't remember the actual word now. And she broke it. Yeah. And my husband was gutted, right? And he was really irritated. But he walked away. And she was like, oh, why did you do that? And he just walked away and went to go regulate himself. And in that instance, it's easy to say, oh, the child is being naughty. It's like, no, why did you close the cupboard? You know, just lock the cupboard, because the child is exploring. So it's very normal behavior for a child. But for you, it hit you somewhere. So it triggered something for you. And that's the work that you have to do, to say, wait, why did that make me upset? Like when I was doing the training course with Kenny, she would actually have you keep a journal to say, okay, wait, let me journal this down. Okay, she broke something and I got really upset, or she made the house dirty and it like made me really upset, or she put something on the couch or something like that, and then go away, and then you come back and look at that, and then you have to reflect on why did that do that for you. And then it's like, wait, when I broke something in the house, I'd probably get slapped across the room. Or if I made a mistake about something, this is the response that I got from my caregivers, which is usually the mode in which we parent our own children if we're not aware of that. So the work is not like us trying to figure out our kids, particularly with their misbehavior and, you know, some of the stuff that like drives us mad. It's just about investigating why it drives us mad. And I spend most of my time trying to figure that stuff out. But it's so beautiful because it teaches you to be mindful. And that's why I called my new group Mindful Motherhood, right? Because, again, I'm going to refer to Kelly. I'm asking her to create a video around how we can teach our children to be more mindful. And it's like, I've got very controversial thoughts about that. Because I think it's our children. How can our children be more mindful about their emotions? So this is what I'm asking her to create. Right? Like, no, our kids are already very mindful. Our kids are in tune with how they're feeling. They might not have a vocabulary for it. When they're angry, they are very aware that they're angry, and they will do very angry things to show you that they're angry. It's us that have to be a lot more mindful about how our surroundings are making us feel, its behaviors are making, or how our circumstances are making us feel.
So, Karabo, what's your one with you?
The children that I have been blessed with are really facilitators of my healing. And although that is tough, it is fulfilling both for myself and the relationships that I have with my children, considering that I allow it to take place.
I love that last part, especially.
To say allow it. Yes, allow it. It's tough, but allow it.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing your experience.
Always. Always, always, always. We love sharing. Sharing is caring.
Such gems. Such gems. What an uplifting episode. What did you think about Karabo's story? Can any of you relate to having some past childhood traumas or experiences and finding yourself healing through them while you're raising your children? I'd love to hear from you, so leave a comment below. If you found this episode inspiring at all, please go ahead and share it on your social media, tagging me at Aisha and Life. And don't forget to subscribe to join my Mama Village right here on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Aisha O'Reilly, and I hope this episode has left you feeling a little bit more whole, Mama.